Hello, everyone, and welcome to Learn and Explore. Today, we are going to learn about one of the greatest scientists who ever lived, Sir Isaac Newton. His name is written in the history of science like a shining star. Why? Because he gave us new knowledge about the universe, about how things move, and about why things fall. Without Newton, modern science would not be the same. I promise you, after this lesson, you will know the story of his life, his discoveries, and why people call him a genius. So, let's begin. Isaac Newton was born on January 4th, 1643, in a small village called Woolsthorpe in England. Something interesting happened even before he was born. His father had already died. His mother was left alone with the baby, and when Isaac was just 3 years old, she married again and went to live with her new husband. Little Isaac did not go with her. Instead, he stayed with his grandmother. So from childhood, Newton felt lonely and separate. He was a small and weak baby. In fact, people thought he might not survive. But he did survive. And not only that, he grew up to be one of the strongest minds in human history. As a child, Isaac was quiet, shy, and thoughtful. He was not a leader in games or sports. Instead, he liked to watch, to think, and to build. He made windmills, small machines, sundials, and toys that worked with gears. His hands were always busy, and his mind was always asking, why? At school, Newton was not the best student at first. He was average. But one day, a boy bullied him. Isaac fought back, and then he decided that he wanted to be better, not just in fighting, but in learning. From then on, he started working harder than everyone else. Soon, he became the top student in the school. When he was 18, Newton went to Cambridge University. There he studied mathematics, astronomy, and natural philosophy, which is what people used to call science. But something terrible happened in England at that time. The Great Plague of 1665. This disease killed many people, and universities closed to protect students. Newton had to go back home to Woolsthorpe. Now, most students would have been sad or wasted time, but not Newton. He used this time as his wonderful years. While staying at home, he thought deeply, experimented, and made discoveries that would change the world. Have you heard the story of the falling apple? Yes, it is connected to Newton. One day, he was sitting in his garden and saw an apple fall from a tree. He asked himself, why does the apple always fall down? Why not sideways or upward? What force is pulling it? This question led him to the idea of gravity. He realized that the same force that pulled the apple to the ground also kept the moon in its path around the Earth, and the planets in their paths around the sun. This was a shocking and brilliant idea. Gravity was not just a local force on Earth. It was a universal force. This discovery showed that the same rules applied to both the heavens and the Earth. For the first time, people understood that the universe followed natural laws, not just mystery or magic. But Newton did not stop there. He also studied how things move and created the three laws of motion, which are still the foundation of physics today. The first law, the law of inertia, says that an object will stay still or keep moving in the same straight line unless a force changes it. Imagine a football on the ground. It will stay there until you kick it, and when it rolls, it will keep rolling until friction or something else stops it. The second law says that force equals mass times acceleration, or F equal ma. This means that the heavier something is, the more force is needed to move it. That's why pushing a heavy truck is harder than pushing a bicycle. The third law says that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. When you jump, you push the ground down, and the ground pushes you up. When a rocket launches, fire and gas push downward, and the rocket is pushed upward. These three laws explained everything from the motion of a simple toy to the flight of planets. Engineers, scientists, astronauts, everyone still uses these laws today. Newton also became deeply interested in light. At that time, people thought light was just plain white. But Newton experimented with prisms, pieces of glass shaped in a triangle. He shone sunlight through a prism and found that it broke into many colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. He proved that white light is made of many colors mixed together. He also invented a new type of telescope. Before Newton, telescopes used lenses, and they had problems with color and focus. Newton used mirrors instead. This design, the reflecting telescope, is still widely used today in astronomy. In 1687, Newton published his most famous book, Philosophia Naturalis Principia Mathematica, or simply Principia. In this book, he explained his laws of motion and the law of gravity with mathematical detail. This book is often called one of the greatest works in science history. Think about it. Before Newton, people looked at the sky and saw mystery. After Newton, people looked at the sky and saw laws, order, and patterns. He showed that the universe was understandable and followed rules that humans could discover. Later in life, Newton became famous not only as a scientist but also as a leader. He became the president of the Royal Society, which was the most important scientific group in England. In 1705, he was given the title Sir by Queen Anne, so we call him Sir Isaac Newton. Newton lived a long and productive life. He worked on mathematics, physics, astronomy, and even on subjects like alchemy and theology. Some of his ideas were strange, but his scientific work stood the test of time. He died in 1727 at the age of 84, and he was buried in Westminster Abbey in London. Only great leaders, kings, and national heroes are buried there. That shows how important he was to England and to the world. Now let's think. Why is Newton still important to us today? His laws of motion help us design cars, airplanes, trains, and rockets. His law of gravity explains how planets move, how tides work, and how satellites stay in orbit. His work with light laid the foundation for modern physics and optics. His method of using mathematics to explain nature inspired later scientists, including Albert Einstein. Every time you see a plane fly, a rocket launch, or even a ball bounce, Newton's laws are working behind the scenes. Isaac Newton was not just a scientist. He was a thinker, a dreamer, and a person who never stopped asking questions. From a weak and lonely child, he became one of the greatest minds in human history. His discoveries shaped modern science and continue to guide us today. And here's the lesson we can take. Great ideas often come from simple questions. Newton asked, "Why does an apple fall down?" That simple question led to the discovery of gravity and changed the world forever. So, whenever you have a question, big or small, do not ignore it. Ask, think, and explore. Who knows? Maybe one day your question will change the world too. Thank you for watching this lesson. I hope you enjoyed learning about Sir Isaac Newton. If you liked this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more lessons.